So today is 9/22. 9/22, the day before 9/23. And this date, it's been a date we've all been waiting for whatever reason, for a very long time. Again, it's been all in the movies, unbelievably in the movies, by the way. The things that they show in the movies, like what the movies are about, that happen to have this date in there, interesting. I watched I, Robot last night. Will Smith, 2004. Not because I was told, oh, you gotta watch it, there's a, stuff in there that shows this or that. Aside from the bridge, the San Francisco bridge being in there and being destroyed, which is another theme I just seem to see a lot in some of these movies, along with the Hoover Dam. There was no 9/23 that I could find. There was nothing that stood out as abnormal or, like something worth even mentioning, whatever. I couldn't find any of it. Nothing there. So it's less, and what was that movie about? Did that movie have any kind of meteors hitting the earth, or, show any kind of martial law scene, or people, I don't want to put my visor down because then I'm going to block my face out. So, put my hand up for a second. So, just to show you that there's plenty of movies out there that just have absolutely nothing in there. There's nothing standing out. And then the ones that do have something in there that does stand out, and it's related to 9/23, by chance, coincidence, whatever you want to call it, they've got some imagery and scenes in the movie that are like, whoa, what are you trying to show here? That's kind of odd. It's, either a meteor hitting the earth, or, again, martial law type scene, people, in trouble, trying to survive about, something or another. And I was reading a comment from somebody at Silver Doctors yesterday, and they were talking about, because Silver Doctors posted a story of their own about this clock kid, 14-year-old or whatever he is, kids arrested, what has America turned into, and it seemed like another one of those stories of nonsense. Kid draws a picture of a gun and is detained, sent home from detention from school because he drew a picture of a gun, one of those stories. Except there's a big problem here. And every one of those, and I mean all of them, of those stories of, some kid, whatever, drew a picture or wore a shirt and he got sent, none of that had the mainstream media blessing, so to speak, in covering that story like they did with this clock kid, suitcase, looks like a bomb, whatever story. So, as I've been saying, rule number one now, when you see mainstream media covering something, you better watch it. You better take a look at it, because it's probably something about it that was fishy. Like it was staged or it's supposed to happen, they're already ready to cover it because it's all a big stage for them. So sure enough, this kid gets that treatment. Gets to meet the president, the White House, he's got all this stuff all of a sudden happens to him, but nobody else. Well, he's a Muslim kid. What about all the white kids and some of the black kids and some of the Spanish kids that got sent home for doing stupid stuff, or, detention for drawing a picture of a gun or something? Are guns allowed in America? Yes. It is lawful to have a gun. Therefore, why is it unlawful to draw a picture of a gun, of something that's lawful? Doesn't make sense. And those kids didn't get anything other than the local media coverage. That's it. Oh, and by the way, there was a shooting this past weekend at a church in Alabama with 3 people shot. Where was Fox News? Where was CNN? You want to know where CNN was? They were replaying WBAJ, whatever, local station, covering the story. That's all I got from CNN. CNN, where's the parents of the people shot, or the family members the same day? No tears, no crying, joking, laughing on camera. Where's all that? Where were your stooges out there trying to interview them? At the crime scene, like you usually do. Where was that? No show. Oh, no call, no show. I guess they stayed home that day. Didn't make hardly a peep of news. They mentioned it. They showed the local news footage, and that was it. Where's all the guys from Sandy Hook? Bring them all out. Gun control, Boston Marathon bombing, gun control. How that works, I don't know, but whatever, they'll bring it out. Where's all that? That's because that event was real. And the guy went to that church where his wife and I guess kid or whatever were. And I don't know exactly why he was pissed off, but he went and shot them. They went to the hospital. None of them died, from what I understand. They were injured. The guy, here's another shocker, was actually apprehended. Didn't drive away and blow his head off while driving. And suicide. He killed himself. Adam Lanza killed himself. This guy killed himself. Okay. Not this guy. He wanted to stay alive. So, back to the story here. Although, actually, you got to wait a second.
This is Tammy. How can I serve you?
I think I want a medium lemonade with light ice.
A medium lemonade with light ice.
And a 4-count of the chicken minis.
And a 4-count mini. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. 529. We look forward to serving you at the window.
All right. Notice how I looked back at you as if you were going to help me decide. Like, oh, what should I get? The camera. Yeah. So, we have this important date coming up. And people say, oh, it's just going to be another date like any other day. It's going to come and go. And you know what? Man, oh man, do I hope so. Who wants doom? Like, who really, really wants something really bad to happen? Any normal human being that has an ounce of caring in them would not want that to happen. And that's me too. Wouldn't want anything to happen. However, if you another Y2K, another 2012 date, it'll come and go. Now, hold on. No, it's not. No, it's not. For what? And again, even if nothing happens, no, it's not just another one of those dates. Was there anything in any movie? I shouldn't say any movie, because the 2 dates of importance I'm about to talk about were in massive amounts of movies. 9/11, 2001, and 9/23, now 2015. So was Y2K in a ton of movies and in weird news stories and interesting things that happened? No, not at all. Okay. How about 2012? Yes, there was one movie called 2012. A single movie about it. Now, sure, there's been movies about destruction, but we're talking about December 21st, 2012, the end of the Mayan calendar. There was one movie made on it. That's it. So it was literally a movie about that, what people were expecting. It appeared to be nothing more, nothing less. But there were some interesting scenes and statements in that movie, like one that made absolutely no sense at all for him to even say. The guy that was the crazy conspiracy guy and the camper in the Yellowstone National Park or whatever.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a lemonade and a 4-count mini. How are you?
Yep, good.
Do you need any for those minis?
No.
Yeah.
Thanks.
My pleasure, Beth.
So, that guy's up in the, his conspiracy RV broadcasting in his alternative media radio station or whatever. But he talks to the main character, and he's like, yeah, you know how it goes. It's first it's, the stock market collapses, boom. Then the U.S. dollar goes, boom. Then the world economy, boom. It's something like that, all right? And I'm thinking, as I'm watching this, I went to the movies and saw that, right? So I was in the theater. And I'm thinking to myself, it's kind of odd. What the hell does that have to do with this? First, the US dollar crashing, and because the Mayan calendar, if it was a real doomsday event that actually happened, why would the US dollar crash? Why would then the stock market crash? If 2012 comes, ain't nothing crashing because it's pretty much day of destruction. Stuff ain't gonna have time to crash. It's just gonna go out. It's gonna quit. Everything stops. Markets get shut down. There's not gonna be any crashing because everything powers out, you know. So it didn't make any sense. But that was like one of the only things in that movie that really stood out. That's kind of a hint or whatever. That's it. That's all. Now you cover the movies that had 9/11 in it, and there were tons. Right? Remember The Matrix, 1999, Neo's passport in the movie. If you pause it and look at it, it expires when? 9/11/2001. So in a movie in 99, of all the dates in the entire history of the world, how could that date be chosen? And you might say, well, the movie was portrayed to be around this time frame. Well, hold on, is it? That was a futuristic movie where they're plugged into this thing, right? That was not supposed to be really this time frame. I mean, if you think about it, that was like a movie futuristic as far as I'm concerned. So they're only going to go out a couple years from when the time they made the movie, 99, 2000, 2001. That soon? And again, there's 365 days in every single year. And they picked the right year and the right date, 9/11/2001, to put in their movie. And then other movies, both previous to that, not both, but many movies previous to the actual date, showing the same type of thing. Same date. They all want to choose this date for some reason. So there's another date, and only this other date, as far as anyone else can ascertain and tell from these movies. And that's 9/23. Now the biggest thing for me was that many of these didn't show like 2015. It just said 9/23. So that literally could, open this up to last the rest of our lives. Which year? 2020, 2070, 2050, 2033. I'll throw the 33 out there for fun. But there were some movies that did actually put the 15 on it. 9/11/2015. And similar to the 9/11 movies, not all of them said 9/11/2001. Some of them were just a bunch of 9/11, 9/11, 9/11 in your face. Some said 9/11/2001. And just like that, with this 9/23 date, some actually showed the 15. Many just showed the 9/23. Then you take into consideration that some of these movies with the 9/23 also appear to want to show you a lot of 7s. So you had Christine Lagarde give her big speech. We know about this a million times now, about the power of 7 and the meaning of 7, and why would any financial person, head of the International Monetary Fund, come out and talk one day and only that one day and never speak about these things again, and then go right back into lending to broke countries mode. But takes the time, and as she's in front of the podium to claim and state, I only do as I'm told. Okay, so, and then she gets on with her speech about 7s. She was told to come out and talk about the 7. It was not her idea. She had no freaking idea. She's a bimbo just like the rest of them. And I'm just coming out to do as I'm told. And even says it. To me, that's saying, hey, kind of a speech to anybody in the know, anybody who knows. And it wasn't intended for you and me who think we're in the know, by deciphering this stuff. No. It was meant for the club. Club members, 7s, guys, hint, hint, 7s. Oh, they'll instantly know what that means. When was the last 7 cycle? Oh, 2008. One before that, 2001. 8. Oh, okay, 2015. Okay, so it's 2015. And she's mentioning it. She's the head of the IMF. She just got done saying, I only do what I'm told. So she's being forced, so to speak, to say this. I know what that means. This 7 cycle is an important, very important 7 cycle. It ends this month. It's the final blood moon this month. The Pope is meeting the President in the White House, supposedly, tomorrow, 9/23. And I thought to myself, nah, they're not going to kill the Pope, like the club or whatever. Because if you look at the Catholic Church and the people surrounding that and the nasty things these priests, Catholic priests especially, get caught doing with little children, the evil's already there, in my opinion. So why would they, and I say they, the elite or whoever, want to hurt the Pope or try to kill him, or, I don't know. Unless it's just symbolic and they need a sacrifice of importance and they do something stupid like that. I have no freaking idea. But I thought about that. Oh, that's an interesting place for him to be on 9/23, and then it brought my attention because I'm going to tell you about what this guy commented on Silver Doctors about now. They posted the story about this kid, the clock story. I'm like, oh, they're, thanks for posting it, but you're like 4 or 5 days late on this one. But they didn't see it, and someone in the first comment noticed and said, hey, you know something? And I don't know how they knew this, but I'm going to say now that nobody would probably say that what he said in his comment without definitely knowing. I don't think someone would throw this out there as an accident, and I could just guess. And what he said, the person that made the comment in reply to the story, said this is the same circuit board clock that they use to train law enforcement in related, in bomb, training or whatever. And he said, what we have to do is determine if there was the additional pins that have power on them when the alarm goes off, whatever. And if so, then this is absolutely whatever, the kid. In other words, if the kid's version had those things live or whatever, then, he made his comment. But to me, I'm reading that saying, well, hold on. If you're sure that this circuit board that this kid allegedly used in this suitcase clock is actually the same type that law enforcement goes and gets because it has certain features that could in fact set off a bomb. In other words, like when the alarm goes off and starts beeping, it puts power to another part of the circuit or some extra pins you can attach something to, such as a bomb that's now going to get power and blow up. That was the point he was making. So if this kid is using the same clock circuit board that law enforcement uses to teach their own bomb squads, then way beyond absolute positive, beyond a doubt, was this staged. It was supposed to happen. But then the video I looked at that I think I referred you guys to watch, one of them, was talking about, they got this one spokesperson guy now in all these Twitter feeds and all the news feeds following everything out of the White House, and it's the guy standing there with the clock, like his little tweet, clocks, like hashtag whatever, we stand with Imam or whatever his name is, we stand with Ahmed or whatever, and the clock, by pure coincidence, is 9/11 to the T. But if you look at the hands, 9 and then 11, well, that's the 2 and the 3. And it's just past the 2, so that's 11, 9/11, and the 2 and the 3. So is that a hint, again, to only people in the know? Is that a hint that there's going to be some kind of a terror attack or something on 9/23 somewhere of importance in the world? And that was what the video was saying, this might be what they're trying to say. Because then he says, look at the tweet from the White House, allegedly from Obama, but I'm going to tell you, I don't believe Obama's sitting there tweeting. I believe it's one of his staffers, etc., one of the people, advisors, doing it for him. He's busy, he's doing stuff, so they tweet for him and then tell him, oh, this is what we said to him, Mr. Obama. Okay, yeah, no problem. And his reply was, Obama allegedly, hey, you want to bring that clock to the White House? So, again, conspiracy world is saying maybe they're referring that on 9/23, Pope's going to be visiting the White House. There's going to be a terror attack somewhere. You want to bring that to the White House? You want to bring that clock bomb to the White House is what he's saying? It's fishy, it's weird, I don't know. But it's still worth telling this to you and doing a video. I could just shut up for now and not have done this video and just wait. Well, not 9/23, 9/24, because that's another date that's appears to be with the 9/23 many times in these movies. So the day of 9/23 and then to 9/24. Once again, I don't know what it means. If I was a member of the elite, the club, and I was able to come out here and, you know, pretend to give you my own version of a fake story or a fake opinion with some truth in there to let you know, kind of what they do in the movies, I would be doing it and I would know, and then I would know exactly what they're gonna do. And then if you said, oh well, this old guy Jason F4 is actually leaving the state of Florida, he's leaving the country for a couple weeks. Oh, and so is Lindsey Williams. That's kind of odd. You might know something was up. But unfortunately for you and me, I don't know about me, but unfortunately for you, I'm not a member of the elite, and I don't have, I'm not privy to information that they know. I don't know why they've been putting the 9/23 out there for us and why it's this year. I have no idea what it means. Is it just them saying, with this opening of this black hole gate thing in CERN, which is also happening around the same time, they're celebrating it in some weird way because they're a cult, and that's all it meant the whole time in all these movies, that nothing's going to happen. It's just a way of them to get that number out for all themselves, to be all happy about something that they're doing at CERN or whatever it means in their eyes. It's an extremely occult date with the blood moons on the 28th of this month, so that's another few days away from now. Maybe that's all this is about, and that is absolutely nothing. Nothing's going to happen. It's absolutely nothing to worry about. It ends up being another stupid date. We all go on with our lives, back to covering the nonsense financial world and the corruption, and life goes on. That's how I'd rather have this go, I think, if I had a choice. Who wants doom? Like, who really wants doom? At the same time, the markets, the debt, all this crap has to be dealt with. And we're already, again, Congress, we got to talk about debt ceiling again, raise the debt ceiling again. Boy, oh boy, wouldn't they like to have to stop doing that and just give the president full power to just, with the flick of his magic wand, say, I'm raising the debt ceiling because we're under martial law, and this is happening, and this is happening, and as long as we're under martial law, I'm in charge. Gives you the little wink. The question is how would the American citizens deal with that if that happened? I think that they don't want to do that ever, because they don't want to risk the uprising that would ensue. And that's one of the things Lindsey said. They do not want, I repeat, they do not want the American people to rise up. They are doing the things that they're doing in the way that they're doing them so that you people don't rise up as best as they can. They do not want you to rise up. So how are people not going to rise up when this big crash happens? Because this is going to be the big one. It hasn't happened yet. It's like literally speaking of alarm clocks, that alarm clock's pretty much about either going off or about to go off as far as that's concerned. So again, it's tomorrow's the day. And matter of fact, I would just call it. Let's see if anything happens until around because Lindsey had originally said September, October time frame. If they knew 100% it was September, he would have been saying, oh, absolutely September. And the last thing he was talking about was from September to the end of the year. He said from September to December, that's the time frame I've been given. And you need to have your stuff in place that I've been telling you about all these years by September 15th. Get your stuff, have everything you need by then. So the good news is, it's not like, oh, we gotta wait another year, oh, we got another stupid date. The date is now, the time is now. We have, again, we're almost in October, November, December. October to November, November to December. We're talking 2 months. Not a big deal. to sit here and wait to see what the elite have planned and what they actually did do. And I'll be sitting here with you at the same time, wondering and watching, and if something happens, we'll be reporting it. The sheer number of people talking about this date, I'm talking about average people, all over the internet. It's been posted so much, honestly, that if any damn thing happens on 9/23 or 24, anything abnormal, immediately people are going to say, oh my God, so-and-so on Facebook was talking about this crap the other day. I didn't say anything, or some people were picking on him for saying it, or her, or whatever. Oh my God, they must have been on something. Hey, tell us again, what was that? Then all of a sudden you have this massive communication flooding the whole world of, see, these people said something was going to happen, and something did. Something of great importance happened. And at the same time, what if it's nothing and nothing happens? And I'm here to tell you right now, as much as this date is in our face, just like 9/11, I don't even think I'd bet $1, because I had a conversation with someone on the LinkedIn yesterday. I said, I don't even think I would bet you $1 that I'm sure something's going to happen. And we both don't want anything to happen, but I said, just so many people know what, they may, even if they had something planned, they may at this point decide, you know what, we're being exposed too much right now, we can't do this. Or they never planned on anything anyways, and it was just something stupid that they wanted to put in the movies for some other occult reason amongst themselves that we just don't know about. And that's all it was. Now, as I say that, and I think of all the movies that have this number in it, just like 9/11 number, the stuff they're putting in those particular movies with this date in it is kind of concerning. But again, I hope it's nothing. We will find out. Take care.